Hello. Chainsaw Man chapter 206 came out today, and we are going to talk about it. So, there's not really that much happening this chapter. The chapter opens with Denji coming in face to face with the Falling Devil, who apparently doesn't want to fight them referring to Denji, and Yoru, who is now stuck under a bunch of rubble. So the Falling Devil offers Denji a choice. He can either save Yoru, or he can help save the nearby civilians who the Falling Devil started dropping buildings on. Denji, I guess, chooses the civilians, so he attacks the Falling Devil in hopes of stopping it by killing the Falling Devil. But the Falling Devil hits him with the Genjutsu and puts him in a trauma coma where he sees vision of this boy from last chapter. And I would do my own personal artist interpretation of it, but I really like this panel in that it kind of, the way it splits the boy in two, kind of symbolically shows that Denji isn't just sorry about the boy that he left to die, but also the twin brother as well. So Denji is apologetic to both of them. And I think that's a pretty clever way of doing it, of them splitting up and then being set on fire. But anyways, Denji floats off into space because he is sorry. Meanwhile, Asa takes over from Yoru, and this is the first time we sing her in some weeks, but she shoots herself out of the rubble by blasting her finger gun through it. She does some quick parkour over the fallen buildings of the battle, and then she catches up to Denji and grabs Denji by the leg. And this is kind of a callback to back in chapter 127 when Denji saves Yoru and Asa by grabbing them and preventing them from being carried off by the Falling Devil. So how will next chapter follow this one up? My guess is that since the last time Denji saved Asa, he kind of fumbled at the end by talking about sex, and that's what he's looking forward to in life. It grossed Asa out and sent them to hell, but I think they can maybe turn around on this, and this time Asa is the one offering sex and maybe bring Denji back down to earth. So that's my prediction for next chapter. But yeah, that's a pretty quick summary of what happened. Let's see. Hello. Hello. This chapter felt like if the reader doesn't get parallels, then they're not reading correctly. Yeah, it is. Well, to be fair, it has been like a year and a half, I think, since the other chapter. So maybe some people might forget. You don't get why Denji feels bad now. He's killed dozens of people. Must have been most of them have not deserved it. We're back to Denji feels bad and recovers by the power of horniness. I mean, I think he's always felt bad. I don't feel like he's ever. I feel like the whole Denji only cares about women thing is like mostly a joke for the most part. But yeah. Let's see. I also had the comment from last week's chapter video stream. Magteggy says the boy that was held in the cockroach devil's hands might not have been empowered with the same ability. Quotes, but also the guy was a Chainsaw Man superfan, and it would not surprise me if he puts his entire faith into Chainsaw Man to save him, because he is literally his idol. Yeah, that could be, because last chapter I talked about it being kind of weird that the boy that was killed by the cockroach devil was supposed to have the fire devil's powers too, but he kind of just died from a relatively light injury, light attack. He got dropped off like a couple stories and died, which is unbecoming of even the fake Chainsaw Man. And I guess he's suggesting that perhaps not the twins have different powers, possibly. Um, yeah, maybe. I guess it's also possible if they like the other twin's power didn't quite develop until the first twin died. Like maybe they had lesser versions of the fake Chainsaw Man power before. However, I think it still doesn't really explain why the fake Chainsaw Man was helping Denji throughout the first half of part 2. So it still doesn't completely make sense to me, but it's something that we'll have to just give it time and see what happens. Let's see. Back to the comments. Parallel to Makima reminding Denji killed his dad and felt bad. I guess so. I think I said this before, but I didn't really like the whole Denji's dad angle. It's something that I felt never really had much foreshadowing when it first dropped. Because the very first mention of Denji's dad was in the first chapter, and we saw him, like, we even saw a imagery of him, like, hanging himself. So it turns out Denji killing him was kind of just out of nowhere for me. Although I don't remember if Makima ever went into the specifics of how he killed his dad. I imagine he like pushed him over while he was drunk. That might do it, but I don't know. But we'll see. But yeah, anyways, pretty quick chapter. Let's see. You don't get why the twin claimed that he is Chainsaw Man on TV when Chainsaw Man Denji was responsible for his brother's death. So I don't think the guy on TV was the twin. It was just someone that the church selected to be a fake Chainsaw Man, to pretend that they have like Chainsaw Man to get legitimacy from the public. Cause the boy that they had out to pose as Chainsaw Man had black hair, so that's definitely not either of the twins. But yeah, let's see. Let me quickly run through the chapter to see if there's anything else I missed. Well, I guess the chapter opens with Denji ogling the falling devil's chest. And it's kind of morbid because the falling devil's chest actually used to belong to a real woman. So he is, you know, getting it on over like someone else's corpse that's being played around with. Kind of sad. But yeah. Let's see. You did like how they switch roles. Denji loses Pochita and become a hero. In this case, Devil loses his master and become a hero. Yes, it is kind of like the reverse Denji Pochita situation. That being said, I'm still not entirely bought into the Fire Devil's honesty. There's just a lot of stuff that doesn't line up. I think the Fire Devil's playing games with all of them, but you know, we'll find out what's up with him in a bit. But yeah, a pretty short, quick chapter. I think I talked about most of what there is to talk about for this chapter specifically. Ba. See, Denji is less mentally stable than her. He cancelled the falling devil powers when thinking about kittens. You would have thought Denji was mentally stronger now than when he began part 2. yeah, in a way, in a lot of ways, he kind of regressed in his maturity, even compared to the beginning of part two. I kind of really liked it in the first few chapters of part two, where we didn't get like any Denji at all, and we kind of see him from Asa's perspective. So like we see Denji from like a third person perspective, and that makes him seem a lot, bigger than life even. But yeah, as part two went on, it's kind of he regresses a bit. Um, but yeah. But yeah, I think we talked about all there is to talk about. Unfortunately, there is another break next week. So we will be back on, let me look at the calendar, back on July the 1st. Wow. Time goes by really fast. Jeez. But yeah, thanks for the comments. I'll see you